On the point of GST, if I can come to it, there are some evidences that the sector which has been impacted the most is the micro and small firms, where it seems a part of the business that they were doing is now moving to the bigger guys. What is your thought on that?
I would not use the word evidence unless you qualify it by saying anecdotal, because we don't really have robust information yet. I am prepared to accept the argument, but let us try and understand what that argument entails. One is that here, and there is a threshold, we all know that GST does not cover everything, it only covers it up to a certain threshold. Having said that, it could be that it is difficult for me to comply with the compliance requirements that GST entails. In recognition of that compliance problem, as you know and as the viewers also know, the GST Council has been tweaking and there will be further tweaking. So, one part of this is this. In passing, I should mention that part of the thing, and I am not talking about MSME, generally trade and industry and commerce probably did not expect that GST would happen on the date it happened, because it has been talked about for several years, it did not happen. So, they ought to have been prepared, but they were not prepared. But there is one other thing that I want to mention, although it sort of tends to provoke people. Some of this has actually been tax evasion, and there is a resentment because now that tax evasion will no longer be possible.
Let's go to this book, On the Trail of the Black. What is this book all about?
The title is On the Trail of the Black, which automatically suggests that it is about black, not as in the color black, but it is against black income and black wealth. It is a collection of papers, it is edited by me and Kishore Desai. It looks at different aspects of how one can go about addressing the issue of corruption and black money. The word black needs to be defined, because the use of cash per se or the existence of the unorganized economy per se is not illegal, and therefore, it is not black. It becomes black when one of two things happens. Either there is an act of tax evasion, or alternatively the activity that led to the generation of income was illegal to start off with. That might be crime, it might be drugs, it might be human trafficking. 8th of November 2016 has been talked about a lot, but demonetization was only one little piece in the overall attempt to institutionally cleanse the system and to address the issue of black in terms of the stock of black wealth as well as the creation of fresh black income. And obviously, the way you address it varies from sector to sector. So, sector wise we have this collection of papers by various people.
Demonetization gave a very strong message to the public that the government and the Prime Minister himself is very serious about fighting this historical menace of corruption and black money. Through this step, he clearly gave a message that he wants to take decisive action against this, this issue once and for all. So, we took that opportunity and then we sort of attempted to understand the basics of corruption across multiple sectors. So, this is not one-off kind of a problem. It exists in health sector, it exists in education sector. So, what we have attempted to do in this book is to pick each of the sector, dissect what is the basic driver of corruption, why does corruption happen. Having that understanding, then we have proposed actionable strategic steps which the government can take to sort of minimize and address this problem.
There is a basic assumption sometimes that everything informal is bad. Is that necessarily so? And if we want to get the informal sector to be a part of the formal sector, what are some of the ways?
It's not bad. I would say it's inefficient. Look at retail, for example. Unorganized retail is not as efficient as organized retail. Historically, India has a very low share of the organized, and by organized I do not necessarily mean manufacturing, I am talking even of services. So, over a period of time, the Indian economy needs to become more organized. It has begun to happen partly through government attempts, but government attempts can only provide triggers. Examples of that are even GST. And therefore, gradually we need to recognize that more and more unorganized is going to become organized. But I will again underline what I said, it is inefficient. Look at labor laws, for example. The unorganized sector is littered with examples of where even the minimum statutory rights of labor are being flouted.